All right, sup internet. So in the last couple longer length videos, we did stainless steel, butt joint welding, scheduled 10 with a back purge. I did some practice pieces and I kind of walked you guys through the step on how I set up a certified stainless steel schedule 10 test coupon. So those are these. You guys might recognize these from the two last longer length videos. We did those in a two-part series. So that's kind of how that went. And the whole point of those videos was in preparation to be able to do a job. That is this, what you're seeing here. So what I'm doing in the shop tonight, it's late, it's 10:30. This video will be posted either tomorrow or next week, depending on the time that I get. Tomorrow our customer is picking this up. But this has kind of been the whole preparation to be able to, get set up using a positioner, welding off of, doing pipe fit up, pipe setup, back purging. That was the point of the informational video on the back purges that we did, kind of explaining back purging. So this is the outcome of what that happens. This is not a job that I would recommend a beginner welder taking. This is definitely something more along the lines of an experienced welder. Hold on, I will grab the blueprint. So, of course I can't show everything here, but here's a blueprint off of what we're building off of. So generally, when doing flange joint connections, I would like to be able to weld to the actual application that is going to make sure that the flanges fit to the customer's product perfectly. In this scenario, the machinery that this is going on is super massive and is not able to be transported, so I had to build off of a blueprint. So that does come with its own challenges. So for experienced welders, if you are, top level in your craft, then, maybe you would be able to do this, to be able to understand expansion contraction with stainless steel and the way that it moves and contracts. For a beginner welder, this is something that I would not recommend. There's a lot of setup and time involved, being able to understand your process and quoting. So this being able to keep everything level within plane, flanges have to meet up, the blueprint has to match specifically from dimensional width from center to center horizontally, from dimensional width center to center vertically. Of course, there's a discharge flange here also, so by the time this goes to the customer that I'm building this for, it'll go onto their application. Then this entire unit, the piece that they have built, their machinery, then that'll go out to the field, and then someone else is going to have to plumb to this as well. So overall length dimensions are going to be critical for that part of the blueprint as well. Time and material, everything needs to be quoted, something that does get brought up. So when I had originally quoted this kind of to help anybody out, if you're quoting or getting paid for a job, I did quote this customer supplied material, customer supplied parts and flanges and T's and elbows, 90s, as well as pre-cut pipe. Now there was a situation that I did run into throughout this project, and that was that the customer supplied pipe was not cut correctly. So being able to read a blueprint is critical in this application. Being able to read a tape measure is absolutely a must, a priority. And then I can't strongly recommend enough communication between customers. So as I was building this and starting off, with my kind of start off points, there was dimensional issues with their pipe that did not align with their blueprint. So calling, texting, emailing, and then on my side of it, it's the documentation, something to keep in mind when you're doing a bigger job, larger job, or a specific job that is requiring a blueprint, is documenting all of your communication that goes into something like this. So this was quoted for strictly welding. there was, you know, let's call it engineering involved. I will kind of, you know, give my customer the best that I can on that. I probably, being a first-time customer, I do want to make a great, strong relationship with them moving forward. So it wasn't too much. I will kind of explain that on pickup tomorrow, that, you know, this was involved. This is extra, you know, I'll work with you on some of these situations. But when it comes to the welding and the fabrication and the time and the equipment that goes into this, we will have to bump up the invoice. So there was parts that had to be cut, pipes had to be, you know, remeasured and fabricated. There was a few extra pieces that had to be expanded to do overall length and to be able to get sizing right. So it's just kind of all part of the process and kind of the timeline and thinking your steps through from start to finish. Your setup is heavily involved in something like this. I can't strongly recommend enough. You know, setup is so important. Your tungsten, your filler material, documenting all of that goes into that. Because of course you don't want it to be able to go back to you know, to the welder if there's a problem. When this leaves the shop, you know, it's on the customer's end at that point. So when the customer does pick this up, there's going to be paperwork involved. So that's kind of the thought process. If that helps anybody out that's watching these, I don't want to kind of scare away newer welders. This is, you know, more of an advanced type job that I would recommend only experienced welders that have pipe experience welding. If you're a beginner welder, if you're getting out of school or vocational school and you're taking on a job, bench welding, excellent, maybe some smaller stuff, or maybe a run or two. But when we're talking about flange connections, multiple flange connections, things that have to align, building off of a blueprint, be very mindful to your own experience and your own skill set. So that's an incredibly important part to take away from this video that, you know, I'm sharing with you guys. You know, I do kind of watch my YouTube analytics and see who views this, kind of the age group and range. We get a lot of, on this channel, you know, 18 to 25 range. It is a pretty young range. It's excellent. It's exactly the people that we're going for here. And I want to be able to, you know, help you guys out as much as possible, be able to get you on the right foot, get good clients, do good work, do good skills, but ultimately be able to make a good product for your customer so that everybody is happy on both sides of the party, and, you know, be able to run with that. So the tools that I had used in this, of course, obviously the 221 Invertig HTP welder does excellent for me. I did weld a lot off of the positioner, being able to make the welds as easy as possible so that all of this would go together. So that is the Profax welding positioner. I used a lot. Of course, this is 2-inch Schedule 10 304 stainless steel. I did use a number 8 cup, a number 10 cup, and then I generally use red tungsten for everything. So that's what I used on this. My filler material was 16th inch 308 stainless steel rod. I did use centering devices. So this here is what I use to find center of flange to flange, so I can keep my dimensional distances correct. So these work excellent. This is a cheaper one. You don't need super expensive ones. These range anywhere from, I don't know, $20 to $80, $90, $100. So this is kind of the middle of the range. Excellent job. They fit right up on the center of your flange. You have a bubble gauge to be able to see where your center is, and then you use a hammer. This is a marking tool. You hit that, it puts the slightest indentation into your flange. I use all sorts of bubble gauges tape measures, bench vise, inspection tables, rigid pipe clamps. You can see this one here as well. This is a chain, basic field one that I would use more in a field situation. I do have the V-block rigid pipe stands. I did use V-blocks, machinist V-blocks. What else did I use? I did at one point use, kind of make like a fixture, I'm going to call it. I used 2 pieces of material with holes drilled out to be able to keep my centerings in alignment. So that's another thing to think about. You know, does the job need a jig or some type of form to be able to hold everything? I did use the purge plugs. I went through 2 bottles of gas. There was test coupons involved, of course. That's what we had the previous videos on. And then, of course, all sorts of tools, deburring tools, and all of that costs money. All of that is time, and you need to think about that when taking a job for your pricing. You know, how much are you going to price per weld, your setup, the material and cost that goes into it. So I've been doing this line of work for many years now, so I had a really good idea going into it. But of course, there's still the speed bumps that kind of get in the way, which, you know, would be the customer supplied material. I did have to recut parts and things like that. So generally, you know, good communication with your customer, making sure that that is all aware on what else and extra you are doing to be able to make, you know, their product to what their needs are for the blueprint. So if any of that helps, I hope it does. You know, leave the video a like or a comment. If you have a suggestion or your own tips and tricks, by all means, let me know. Our channel is about ready to hit 1,000 subscribers. I believe we're over 950 to this point. So a lot of the videos in here that you've seen throughout the week in the shorts as well was this. We have a bunch of pictures on the Instagram page as well. So yep, that's it for today. I have a lot of work tonight still. It's late, so I just kind of wanted to do an updated video here before this does leave the shop. I've got to do some cleaning and kind of set this up for a final inspection for tomorrow for the customer. So I hope that helps. Thanks, guys. Peace.